Her lungs screamed for air, but her training whispered calm. The grip around her neck tightened, a test of pride and resilience. And for a fleeting second, the world narrowed to pain, struggle, and the mounting humiliation of being outmatched. She had sparred with opponents before, but this was different. These were men who underestimated her, and she could feel the judgment in every smirk, every push. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who is listening. Lieutenant Kara Jensen had faced fear before, but not like this. In the Navy SEAL training compound, strength was measured in more than muscles. It was a test of focus, strategy, and mental endurance. She knew she could break free, but the lesson here wasn't about winning. It was about proving restraint, about showing that control could command respect louder than brute force. The air smelled of sweat, the temps of disinfectant, and the faint heat of exertion. Every strike echoed off padded walls, every movement a ripple in a pond of tension. Around them, trainees paused, watching with wide eyes and taut muscles, sensing something about to shift. The grunts of exertion were punctuated by gasps as she fought the choke, her mind calculating angles, escapes, and counters. She thought she'd never see him again. She was wrong. The sparring partner, overconfident and unaware, pressed harder. Kara's vision tunneled, awareness sharpened. Every second counted. Her heart raced, but not with panic. It beat in rhythm with years of discipline. Each pulse, a metronome for precision. Then, from the corner of the mat, he appeared. Chief Petty Officer Dalton, a Navy SEAL known for ending fights before they began. He didn't shout. He didn't rush. He simply moved with purpose, every step deliberate. Every gaze assessing the room, and the moment stretched until it snapped. "Remember who you're facing," he said, calm yet filled with authority that could quiet a storm. In an instant, the choke dissolved, the sparring room caught its breath, and the lesson landed not with pain, but with clarity. Kara straightened, shoulders squared, aware of every set of eyes measuring her now differently. Respect wasn't demanded, it was earned, and she had earned it even before Dalton's intervention. The trainees whispered among themselves, unsure whether to speak or remain silent. Some nodded subtly, while others avoided eye contact, processing the magnitude of what had just unfolded. The room felt smaller, charged, as if every molecule of air recognized the quiet power in front of them. Kara's mind raced, but not in fear. She reflected on every mission, every operation where quick judgment had meant life or death. Here, in this controlled environment, the stakes were lower, but the lesson was just as vital. Strength without control was nothing. Authority without empathy was fleeting. Courage without discipline was dangerous. Dalton approached her, placing a hand lightly on her shoulder, not condescending, not patronizing, but affirming. "You moved well," he said, voice measured, eyes locked on hers. "But remember, sometimes stepping back teaches more than pushing forward." She nodded, absorbing the wisdom. It was a moment of connection, of mentorship, and of validation for everything she had endured. Around them, the trainees shifted, some mimicking postures, others scribbling notes, their respect etched in subtle gestures rather than spoken words. The sparring partner avoided her gaze, a mix of embarrassment and realization spreading across his face. It was a lesson he wouldn't forget. Underestimating a Navy SEAL wasn't just unwise. It could be costly, even in a controlled environment. The air cooled slightly as tension ebbed. Kara breathed deeply, muscles relaxing, awareness still sharp. The room settled, but the echoes of the lesson lingered. Strength and humility, action and restraint. Observation and decision all had been demonstrated in a moment that lasted mere seconds, but carried a weight far beyond the mat. Later, as the training hall emptied, Kara reflected quietly. Alone with her thoughts and the faint smell of sweat and rubber mats, discipline had won over bravado. The lesson had been reinforced not through aggression, but through clarity and measured power. She had faced humiliation, been tested, and emerged intact, not just physically, but in spirit. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And in that room, on that day, every trainee left a little wiser, every observer a little more humbled. And Kara knew that true strength often spoke in silence, patience, and the measured wisdom of knowing when to act and when to let action speak for itself. If this story stayed with you, comment where you're listening from, and subscribe to Whispered Words for more cinematic tales of courage, skill, and the quiet heroes who teach lessons that last a lifetime.